Good evening. This is going to be the start of a composting vlog. This is my composter. As you can see, it's a bucket that was going to be thrown away from one of the local stores. There were several of them there, and this is the second bucket. The second bucket, I've cut the rim off. All these holes that you're seeing allow air to flow within the bucket. And the upper bucket, which is the cover, is full of holes all the way around. To punch these holes, I used a drill bit. On the bottom of the bucket, there's a large hole. And over that hole is paper. A very heavy construction paper. And I screwed that paper down so it doesn't move. And then I made little legs out of, can't think. Wire ties. Those things that when you're using wire, to tie it together. This is all the soil here and here. And the next step is to start composting. This step is you put in enough soil to cover the bottom of the pot, like this. Add a good sized handful of paper. This is your carbon, and you need a 60 to 40% carbon. So this will be some of the carbon. Maybe add a little bit more. Whoa! Like this. I used my shredded paper from the paper shredder. Then I add vegetable matter. Now this doesn't look like a lot, but as you're layering it up like lasagna, and any vegetable matter that I add, I run through a blender to chop it down extremely fine. And during that time, I use all vegetable matter, peelings, everything. Add another layer of dirt to cover it up. All this soil has been inoculated with compost starter. I used an organic one, and it helps to break down the materials much quicker. Another layer of paper and vegetable matter, and you keep layering it up and up and up. Okay, this is the last layer of dirt, and all the vegetable matter is gone, and I use several big handfuls of shredded paper. One of the last things that I will add to my compost is apple cider vinegar. This is about 2 teaspoons, and you're going to add this in little spurts all the way around. This adds a lot of good microbes to your compost. And that's completely empty. Then you let it sit for a few minutes so that it can sink into the soil. The next thing you want to do is add some water. Use it sparingly. The compost should feel like a damp sponge, shouldn't be soggy, so don't add too much. The water that was added, like I said, I don't want to add too much. Now you're going to stir it gently the first day or two. I bought a spoon at Dollar Tree for $1, and this works really good for stirring this up. Now it's been well stirred, And the next procedure is to put the top on, like this. Give it a good couple of whacks. And it's ready to cook. Now, I add a brick to my top because there are times when you're living on third floor that your deck gets really windy. And when that happens, you don't want this blowing off. I do have a second top. It doesn't fit as tightly as this one does, but it does work. Now, every day you come out and you stir this when you're outside. I leave it sit outside the whole day, all night. Forgot to add, the spoon goes in the bucket like this. So when mine is completely ready to rock, it has a brick, the top, the bucket, and it sits in a tin pan. Now, every time you stir it, you should add a little water to it. Don't add a lot. Like I said, damp sponge, not soggy, sopping, wet washcloth. This is the beginning of the compost block, and we'll see how we do. Every couple of days, I'm going to add an addition to this. Thank you. Have a good evening.